Hello there, and welcome to another one of my top 10s. I haven't done this for a long time, I don't believe. And, well, technically the Postal 2 one was a top 10, but I technically filmed that last year and just never bothered putting it together until recently. So, yes, this is a new top 10. Hopefully this one will be out much more quicker than the Postal 2 one. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be talking about another ultra-violent game. And this ultra-violent game is one that holds a special place in my heart. It's one that is so memorable, and it's particularly one of my all-time favourite games. In fact, it's one of my all-time favourite game franchises. And if you can read the title, then you probably already know what it is. It's Doom. Doom is so fabulous. It is a gory, but glorious game, whereby you take the role of the Doom guy, a lone marine who is forced to fight off the hordes of hell themselves. And he does so in such a badass way that who doesn't love the Doom guy? But of course, to help the Doom guy out with creating a memorable and brilliant story and a brilliant game is, that's right, the monsters themselves. With so many monsters there, how can you not just love them? Well, I have a top 10. It's my opinion. If you disagree, then you disagree. But nonetheless, these monsters, they are the best of the best in my opinion. And I'll be judging them on multiple factors, not just their design, not just the way they attack, but also how memorable they are. Because memorability is a very, very important factor. But of course, before we begin, I have two honourable mentions which have not made it onto the list. And both of them are probably going to piss off a lot of people. But let's start off with the first honourable mention. That is the Cyberdemon. Yes, I didn't put the Cyberdemon on my list. So what? When it comes to the Cyberdemon, I really do enjoy the first game's version of the Cyberdemon. That is the best looking Cyberdemon and certainly the most memorable in my humble opinion. The Doom 64 Cyberdemon looks similar, but it's got that goofy, cartoony look, which I'm not a really big fan of. And then you have Doom 3 Cyberdemon, which is alright, but it does have a goofy looking tail at the back, and it has this big, giant, metallic hub on its back, and it's kind of silly. And then you have Doom Falls, or Doom 2016 Cyberdemon, which is... it's shit. I'm sorry, but I do not like the Doom 2016 or Doom Falls Cyberdemon. I think it's quite an ugly and awful looking Cyberdemon. For me personally, it doesn't look like a Cyberdemon. In my opinion, the Cyberdemon should look like the original Cyberdemon. But hell, if they're going to be remaking it and they're going to be giving it new designs, I guess it did its job. But they could have done a hell of a lot better. I mean, it just sucks. And the worst part is, when you fight your Cyberdemon once in any of the Doom games, you pretty much fight them all the time. Never really changes the Cyberdemon fights. Sure, it might add a new little feature, like in Doom 3 and Doom 4, where in Doom 3 you have to use the Soul Cube, and in Doom 4 you get transported to hell and he's got some new attacks, but once you get down to it, most of the time it's the same avoid his rockets and shoot at him scenario, and yeah. I'm not as die-hard or as obsessive over the Cyberdemon as most people are. The other honourable mention is the Baron of Hell. The Baron of Hell only misses out on this list simply because of the fact that, unlike many, I'm just not that fussed over the Baron of Hell. There's nothing wrong with the Baron of Hell. It's got that awesome demonic look with that goat-like body with a humanoid figure, and it shoots plasma balls, and it's one hell of an enemy to tough. I mean, who doesn't remember the Bruiser Brothers from Doom 1? But the issue that I have is the Baron of Hell is an alright demon. That's about it. I don't really find the Baron of Hell as memorable, as beloved as some of the other ones that I'm about to mention soon. Speaking of which, let's begin this top 10 list, shall we? Starting off this list is Doom 3. Yes, Doom 3 actually starts off this list. Well, yes, I know a lot of people don't really like the Doom 3 monsters. The main reason being is a lot of them feel and look the same. I mean, you have the Imp, which is this grey creature with these bug eyes. And then you have the Wrath, which is like the Imp, but it's got long praying mantis-like things. And then you have the Vulgar, which is like the Imp, but it has a tail. Yeah. The problem with the Doom 3 monsters are a lot of them are grey and dull looking. Not a lot of them have a lot of memorability factor to them. Sure, you have the odd few like the Pinky, which we will speak about in a minute, and obviously there are some cool looking designs here and there, but a lot of them are just so dull. That's the best way of describing it. Dull. Now, not saying that Doom 3 is a bad game. I mean, Doom 3 is a fucking awesome game, and for horror, it did a lot. And I know a lot of people don't really like the horror aspect of Doom, because a lot of people prefer the more over-the-top, action-packed, punch a demon in the face and make it bleed sort of scenario. But Doom 3 as a horror game is brilliant. And so, for my number 10 spot, I'm picking the Maggot. Yeah, the Maggot. So the Maggot is a interesting little monster. It has these red skull-like faces, well, two heads should I say, and these little red tentacles sticking out of its back, as well as this red bulging spores everywhere. And it's got white skin, and the creature crawls about and slithers around as it hits the player with its long, sharp claws. And when you first get introduced to the Maggot, it has this awesome cutscene where you have this guy hanging on the roof, and you just see his rib cage exposed, and he goes, "Ah, ah," as he calls on the maggots as they come around and attack the player. A lot of the time, the maggots will attack in swarms, and I love their designs, by the way, and I love the way they attack as well, because, well, say for example you're down a dark hallway, you don't hear anything, and then all of a sudden you get hit from behind, and you turn around and you see these horrible looking faces staring at you. It can really scare you if you're unaware or didn't see it coming, and that certainly happened to me quite a few times. I didn't see it coming, and then the maggot would come up and hit me from the behind, and it genuinely gave me a few scares here and there. The maggot obviously is only at last place because at the end of the day it doesn't really do much, but it is such a brilliant looking creature and such a unique little design with its two heads. So no, I don't believe any other Doom game has really explored. In number 9 is perhaps the most memorable demon of them all. Ah yes, the Cacodemon. The Cacodemon is a monster that floats around and shoots fireballs at you. It's got this big Cheshire Cat-like grin and this one green eye. It bleeds blood, and yes, it's quite unique in that aspect because no other monster actually bleeds blue blood. Or at least I don't think there is. Don't remember. No, none of them do. Only the Cacodemon, and the Cacodemon is such a beloved creature that it appears almost everywhere in every Doom game. It's perhaps the poster boy for Doom. Its unique appearance, however, has suffered some butchery over the years. For example, in Doom 64, though it does still retain its cool looking grin, its awesome looking horns, and its eye looked pretty cool, it had these two little goofy arms on the side, made it look more like a pain elemental than the actual Cacodemon, which in my opinion doesn't really suit the Cacodemon. Then in Doom 3 they decided to give it a bunch of eyes because for whatever reason Doom 3 has an eye fetish, and with these bunch of eyes they have also this weird hand thing at the bottom and exposed. It didn't look very good, let's just say. Then you have Doom 4, which tries to go back to its original roots, but they somehow fucked up its face. I'm not a big fan of its pupilless eye, and I really did not like the look of its mouth. I prefer it being a grinning and monstrous creature that goes around trying to gobble you up and shoot fireballs at you. So why then change his iconic grin into something that isn't grinning? Ah well. Doom's original Cacodemon is, for me, the best, and it is such a memorable enemy, and to be fair, it can put up a bit of a fight. If you don't have the right weapons to face it, it will kill you. It will blow you to pieces with its fireballs, or it will just bite you to death and basically tear your head off. Regardless, the Cacodemon is such a unique and fun enemy, and certainly one of the most memorable ever made. Who doesn't love Pinkies? Pinkies are these bull-like demons that charge about and try and bite your head off. The original Pinky Demon had this basic demon look. In fact, it was just called Demon, but it had this really, really bright coloured pink to it, which is why it got the nickname Pinky. In Doom 3, they gave it a really unique and, dare I say, one of the best designs or redesigns in the entirety of Doom 3, in the sense that the Pinky Demon in Doom 3 had, it's almost like this bulldog appearance, this mutated bulldog, may I remind you, the appearance with these mechanical legs on the back, and it's such a cool looking design, it's awesome. And then in Doom 4 they decided to revert back to the original Pinky and this time give it a bit more armour on the front. So now you have to charge around the behind and shoot its tail until it dies. And in my opinion, that gives it a bit of a challenge. The Pinky is a big creature. It will charge at you, it will bite your head off. And to accompany the Pinky is its cousin, the Spectre. Yes, this is 2 for the price of 1. The Spectre is similar to the Pinky in every aspect except for the fact that it's invisible. Unlike the Pinky, it will mainly hide about in darker areas, which means when you're trying to navigate the environment, you often get attacked by these spectres out of nowhere, and it can often throw you off guard, and it's quite scary when you do get hit by these spectres. And in my opinion, it does change up the gameplay, which makes it even more better. I love the Pinkies and I love the Spectres. In fact, their designs over the years have never really gone out of date for me personally. I think they've always been really good. The only one which I only have a problem with is the Doom 64 one, because Doom 64, like I said earlier, has got this goofy cartoony look to it, which in my opinion kind of ruins the designs of a lot of monsters, and Pinkies were another exception, as well as the Spectres, who, well, they weren't really invisible then, were they? When it came to Doom 2016, a lot of the new monsters were, well, they were mainly just zombies with plasma guns. And sure, you had the Hellraiser, which was just basically like the zombies, except he has a laser and he has a different head. Basically what I'm trying to say is, Doom 2016, when it came to new monsters, kind of lacked in that department. They were mainly relying on the older monsters, which is fair enough, because the older monsters are awesome. But there is one new enemy which was brilliant, and that is the Summoner. The Summoner is the matriarch of mayhem when it comes to the Doom franchise. She can deliver these horrible plasma beams at you, as well as teleporting away and essentially being a speedy and agile enemy to face. She can also summon other demons, which can make her a bit more of a threat. In fact, her whole gameplay makes it quite interesting, because when you're facing the Summoner, you have to sort of adapt to its ability. For example, if you had 2 Hell Knights charging at you, trying to bash your brains in with their big fists, and you had one Summoner on the right, and you had to choose which one to kill first, you'd probably go for the Hell Knights that are about to bash your brains in, but then you'd realise that, hey, you've left the Summoner alive, and as a result of leaving the Summoner alive, it's now just brought in a bunch more demons, and that's made your life a little bit worse. So yeah, it does actually help you change your tactics a bit, and does allow you to choose which one to attack first, the Summoner or the 2 Hell Knights, or whatever monster is about to kill you. And I also really do enjoy the Summoner's look. The Summoner has this beautiful look to it. It's apparently a deformed imp according to the Codex, and it certainly shows in some aspects, but I just love this design. It's a great Archvile for Doom 2016, or should I say Archvile replacement, because the Archvile didn't actually appear in Doom 2016. But this does almost act like the Archvile, and that's what I love about it. Speaking of Archvile. So, as I was saying about speaking of Archvile, the Archvile is next. The Archvile is an enemy that everyone loves to hate. myself included. It's an enemy that everyone loves. It's such a cool and such a sinister, such an evil enemy, and yet you just hate going up against these things. It has this ability to set the player alight before shooting you far across the room and hitting the wall or what have you, and you fall down and take some more damage. Basically, the Archvile is a bitch to attack. It can take out almost half your health or more, and not only that, it can also resurrect dead demons, which makes it even more of a bigger threat. When you're up against multiple demons at once, the Archvile is often the enemy that you want to face first before taking out the other enemies, because the Archvile is a git. It is a scary, scary git. It will hurt you, it will fuck you up, and it's still got that awesome look and that awesome sound effect whenever you meet it. When I saw the Doom Eternal trailer and I saw the Archvile was returning, I was both scared and excited, because how can you not just love the Archvile? Yes, it's a pain in the ass, and yes, you will hate it, but at the same time, you love it. So, yeah, Archviles are awesome, even if they are a pain in the ass. So, now, this is quite an interesting situation. You see, my next enemy is an enemy that is quite small, quite weak in fact, yet at the same time I really love this enemy. It's from Doom 3, and yet it's quite an underappreciated and underrated enemy in my humble opinion. This enemy being the Cherub. The Cherub has the appearance of an infant child, a baby if you will, and it has a deformed body with insect-like arms and wings on its back. It is an incredibly disturbing and fucked up enemy to face, because what you're killing is a baby. A baby that is kind of mutated and isn't actually a baby, it's actually a demon pretending to be a baby, but still, the Cherub is such a unique enemy, and it's an enemy that I'm surprised that the other Doom games never really, or at least Doom 4, because we don't know about Doom Eternal, has never really explored, and that is the disturbing element of the Cherub. The Cherub is such a disturbing and grotesque creature to face, and such a horrifying creature to face, because it's disturbing what you're doing. You're shooting it, but at the same time it's making those baby sounds. It's like, oh, it's horrible, it's tragic, it's disturbing, but you then have to remember this isn't actually a real child, it's actually a digital pixelated child, but still, it's not a real child, it's a demon. And yeah, I really do enjoy the Cherub. The Cherub is very easy to kill. You can just shoot it once and it probably dies from that. They're usually hanging around by Mancubuses, which is why the Cherub is always a good sign in that aspect, because if you think about it, seeing a bunch of Cherubs about means that you're about to face a Mancubis, so it does prepare you for that situation. The Cherubs can be seen in Hell, but they can also be seen in the facility as well. And the Cherub's grotesque design, it also goes with its awful sound effects, which is baby babble going like that all the time. And yes, its attacks aren't very great, but it's a very unique and disturbing and, dare I say, underappreciated enemy. I really do enjoy the Cherub, and it's a shame no other Doom games, or even Doom mods for that matter, really, how do I put it, really give the Cherub its chance to shine, because it can be used really effectively. I mean, if Dead Space is anything to go by, using children as monsters can be quite a disturbing element. So, at number 4 we have the big lads themselves, the Fatzos, the Mancubis. When it comes to the Mancubis has had quite a few interesting designs. I don't necessarily hate the 2016 version of the Mancubis, but I don't know, I'm more preferring the Doom Eternal Mancubis, which looks a hell of a lot better, and I'm so glad they reverted back to the original design, because the original Mancubis is such an awesome looking Mancubis. As for Doom 3, it's an alright looking Mancubis, so it's not really what I consider a Mancubis in comparison to the other two. And then you have Doom 64's Mancubis, which is interesting to say the very least. I know that the Mancubis for Doom 64's its poster child was the main demon to face, but I don't know. Mancubis and Doom 64 wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. But nonetheless, the Mancubis is this giant lard. It's got these big cannons for arms which will shoot at you, or in Doom 4 it will shoot flames at you. The Mancubis' big weight and heavy firepower is counteracted, or coincides should I say, with its slow movement speed and easy to hit hitbox, which makes it quite an interesting enemy to face. Yes, you can kill it quite easily, but it's also going to give you a hard time with those big firearm cannons, and I really do love the sounds it makes. I love the war sound it constantly makes every so often. It's just such a unique and fun looking creature. It's such a brilliant design as well, and it gives more diversity to the demons that you see in the game. They aren't all zombies, they aren't all imps, they aren't all, well, goat creatures. They can be big fat slobs with giant arm cannons that love to infight with revenants, did you know? Taking bronze is the Imps. Yes, the Imps, the regular default enemy, the Imps, the cannon fodder enemy. And yet, why do I rate them so highly? Is it because they're so cannon fodder that they appear every level of every game? Or is it something else? Well, it's something else. Not only are they the cannon fodder enemy that you face pretty much all the time, but they also offer up a lot of interesting aspects. You see, the Imp, unlike other enemies, is the only enemy to truly evolve over the years. Imp used to be this brown enemy, this brown humanoid with spikes that threw fireballs at you. Not very interesting. Then in Doom 3 they gave it a bit more of a unique design and also gave it more unique features. It can crawl on walls and ceilings, it can jump at you, it had fireballs as well, and they kept that up with Doom 4 where they gave the Imp a bit more of a speedier pace. It runs about, it jumps onto crates, it jumps here, there and everywhere, it latches onto walls, it throws fireballs at you. It is truly a brilliant creature. And I mean truly a brilliant creature. I love the fact that they have so much detail, so much attention put into the Imp, and I just love facing these things because they are such a unique and fun creature to face because they have so many attacks from just being this cannon fodder enemy. How can you not love the Imp for that? The Imp's designs, on the other hand, is another question. The original Imp was, as I said, a brown humanoid with spikes. Then you had the Doom 3 Imp, though the design was slightly better, it had a really awful looking insect-like face. And then you had Doom 4, which in my opinion has probably the best looking Imp, in the sense that it looked a lot more like the original Imp, but even a bit more purpley bits on its body. Then we have Doom Eternal, which does look like it's going back to the original Imp, but using the body of the Doom 2016 Imp, which in my opinion looks really good. Of course, then there's the Doom 64 Imp, which in my opinion is probably one of the better looking Imps you've got. In fact, it probably is the best looking Imp in my opinion, accompanied with the Nightmare Imp, which is such an awesome variant of the original Imp. The Imp has so much to it despite being a cannon fodder enemy, and I love it for that. Taking silver place are the angry boners themselves. It's the Revenants. Who the fuck doesn't love the Revenants? The Revenants are basically giant skeletons with rocket launchers for shoulders. And, well, in Doom 4 or Doom 2016, they even get a jetpack, which makes them really, really fun to face. Aside from having this screechy voice and going all the time going at you, they are just fun to face. Not only that, in the original Doom, whenever you faced a Revenant, they would make this wacky punch sound as they punched the Doom guy in the face. And it's just such a great sound effect, that sound effect. It's just great. The Revenants are just great. I think there's nothing wrong to say about them. Everyone loves the Revenants, and over the years the Revenants' designs have always stayed true. It's always stayed relatively well, and stayed, for me personally, has always become a staple design. It's one of those designs that can never really be fucked up unless you truly try. Doom 3 obviously does have a slightly weaker Revenant design. I don't really understand why it has this like invisible skin around it. I really don't like that personally. But aside from that, the Doom 3 Revenant is still a Revenant and is still a screechy, angry boner who is ready to shoot you into smithereens. These spooky skeletons can be spotted almost everywhere, and they will fly about as they screech at you, shooting their rockets at you. The Doom 2016 Revenant, as I mentioned earlier, has a rocket launcher as well as a jetpack. These rocket launching missiles can go everywhere and can track the player and hit them, giving the player a bit more of a challenge as opposed to, say, a Mancubis or an Imp, which will just fire a usual fireball at you, and that's about it. But the Revenants have homing missiles. They can track you. They can actually hit you behind walls, meaning hiding behind walls is no longer a safe bet. The Revenants do change up the gameplay, and in Doom 2016, as I mentioned it plenty of times, changes up even more the jetpack, allowing them to fly and giving it a bit more of a challenge. Sure, they're easy to kill still, you can just shoot them in the face and that's about it, but they're just so much fun. How can you not love the Revenant? We have now entered my favourite monster from Doom. Now, my favourite monster from Doom actually used to be one of my least favourites. I know, that doesn't really make much sense, but hear me out. You see, in Doom 2, these creatures were known as the Hell Knights. And the Hell Knights, they weren't my favourite. In fact, they were probably my least favourite. Not because they were annoying, like the Pain Elementals or the Lost Souls. No. They were, how do I put it? They were basically a recolour of the Baron of Hell. And as I mentioned earlier, the Baron of Hells have never really been that interesting for me. However, in Doom 3, boy did the Hell Knight get a truly deserving revamp. The Hell Knight in Doom 3 is fucking awesome. It's this terrifying two-legged monster that will do nothing but try and kill the player. Sure, he'll walk slowly towards the player, but hearing it stomps every so often as it's getting closer towards the player, about to kill them. It is a terrifying aspect because, well, not many of your weapons can really do much to the Hell Knight. You have to unload almost everything into the Hell Knight's skull to kill it. In Doom 4, they kept the same design from Doom 3, and once again, it's an enjoyable design, and they gave it a bit more of a flexible build. For example, in Doom 4, they can run a hell of a lot faster and try to smash your face in even more. They will jump at you, they'll cause shockwaves. Yeah, of course they don't have their plasma balls anymore, but still, the Hell Knights have since Doom 3 have been awesome. I just love the looks of these things. And of course the Doom 3 Hell Knight is the best of them all. Being grotesque, being scary, and most of all being a certain threat to the player, because you have to avoid this thing to survive. You have to unload every round you've got just to kill one of these things. And it's deserving so. It is so rewarding once you do, because that threat disappears. Of course, unless you're in hell, because in hell you face more than one of these Hell Knights. Hell, the first time you meet a Hell Knight in Doom 3, you meet two of them at the same time, which is terrifying and horrible. It's just horrible. These things are horrible things to face in packs. But nonetheless, the Hell Knights are just awesome. I just love these things. It's funny how an enemy that I desperately did not like in Doom 2 for being a recolor, a rehash, became one of my favourite enemies of all time. In fact, became one of my favourite, my favourite Doom enemy. They are just such a cool, evil and bruising sort of creature. And I think the description for the Hell Knight really, truly, and I mean truly, matches it perfectly. The fact that it is the worst thing on two legs since the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That truly, truly matches the Hell Knight And it really makes an impression. It really tells you all you need to know about the Hell Knight. It is going to fuck you up if you get too close to it. It is this horrible monstrosity on 2 legs that will stomp around and do nothing until you are dead. I love the Hell Knights, and they are my favourite Doom monster of them all. Of course, if you have other favourites, you can tell me below if you're watching this. As for now, goodbye.